Max Verstappen's future with Red Bull is in big trouble, and it looks like Aston Martin is ready to jump on this chance. The team based in Silverstone is having a hard time this season, which is the last year of the current car rules, but they have really big hopes for 2026. There have been offers made to the four-time world champion. And even though nothing is official yet with the latest problems in Bahrain, I really don't think Max will say no to such an amazing offer that's on the table. Can Aston Martin get themselves to the top with Max? And even more interesting, is Lawrence ready to kick out his own son from the team? A very interesting and pretty dramatic thing happened at Red Bull this weekend when Max's manager got really mad about the car's performance and yelled at Marco. The team had an emergency meeting to talk about these problems, but that doesn't mean Max is automatically going to get a better car to race with. Actually, the opposite. People are worried that the problem with the RB21 car is really bad and can't be fixed with just a few upgrades. So it would be way too hopeful to think they can be anywhere near the top if they keep developing the car the way they are now. After the Bahrain Grand Prix, we saw that Max's team was really disappointed and his manager Raymond felt the same way. According to Ted Kravitz, he told Marco about this, and Marco was supposed to talk about it in the emergency meeting that happened right after the race. Explaining how everything went down in Red Bull's garage, Kravitz said, Raymond Vermeulen, Max's manager, came into the Red Bull garage and gave Helmut Marko what we can only call a big telling off. He was arguing with Marco, who just stood there listening to it. And then Raymond walked away angrily back to the garage, kind of throwing his pass as he left. Clearly, they're really unhappy. Helmut Marko has talked about the danger of Max leaving the team and joining one of their biggest enemies like Mercedes or Aston Martin. He said, the worry that Max will leave is huge. Like I said, improvements have to come really soon so that he has a car that can win again. We have to make a good foundation with a car so that he can fight for the world championship. We need to get the car's speed back as fast as possible. And basic things like pit stops have to work. If the car is not the fastest and then the pit stops don't work either, that is not okay. Obviously, even Max lost hope that he can fight for the championship because he said that he is just taking part in this year's world championship and that McLaren is not his competition. But what's even more sad is that he has a calm attitude about the whole situation, which shows that he's probably going to think about his future somewhere else. When talking about how he feels about the current situation that he and Red Bull are in, even though this was the first weekend where both of their cars got points since Las Vegas in 2024, Max said, I always try to do my best even when things are disappointing or, let's say, frustrating, but you have to keep going. We keep talking and keep trying to get better. We know that we have our problems. Even if you win a race, that doesn't make them go away. I already said that last week. Anyway, I'm not the kind of person who gets affected when good or bad things happen. I stay very calm. You just have to keep working, and this is where teams like Aston Martin come in. The Silverstone team has been pretty open about wanting Max, as reports from inside have said that the four-time world champion is their number one goal for the future. It seems like hiring people like Newey and bringing Honda as their engine maker from 2026 is part of the plan to get Max to join them. Max can now see how big of an impact Newey had in Red Bull's success. Of course, there are other important people, like Rob Marshall, who helped a lot with the success, but most people believe that everything started and ended with Adrian. To make things even more interesting, Honda has talked about whether or not they will have a say in who drives for Aston Martin. According to Honda's president, Koji Watanabe, they will still be involved the same way they were involved with Red Bull all these years. And when talking about it more, Watanabe said, after this season, we're focusing on working with Aston Martin. Honestly, I hope that Honda will get another chance to work with Max Verstappen. I really, really hope so. I've talked to him many times, and he's always been positive about how we work and think. Max is also really good at talking with the Honda engineers. He speaks clearly with them, and that makes the engineers become his fans and why they work so hard for him. The number of seats will go down, but for us, we will keep sharing our opinions as Honda when deciding the drivers for 2026 and after. Obviously, the team makes the final choice about which drivers join the team, but it will be the same situation as Red Bull, where we will have our say. And even Max himself didn't want to say no to working with Honda in the future. As his main reason, he talked about his age. More specifically, he said that he's young and he can't say right now whether or not he will be totally committed to a project if he sees that it's going badly. When talking about it more, the four-time world champion said, "I'm still pretty young, and you never know what happens in the future. I could never have imagined how high we would go with 4 championships won together." Now, a big question needs to be answered too. Who is going to be replaced by Max at Aston Martin? The most logical choice right now would be Alonso because of his age and his statements that 2026 is probably going to be his last year racing. But if we look at Lance Stroll's performance, it clearly shows that he's getting worse too. The Canadian driver is currently the one responsible for 100% of the points that the team has scored in 2025. But on the other hand, we can't pretend like he didn't drive really badly in the past couple of years. He has a lot to prove if he wants to stay in the sport, and his father's actions have been showing even more that this project is supposed to be built around Lance and not any other driver. But if a top driver like Max comes, I really don't think Lance will ever have the chance to meet the team's expectations. No matter what condition the car is in, Max will always be able to push it to the very limit, while Lance will know that he won't get in trouble for driving poorly. There's going to be a huge difference in how well these two drivers perform. And it's definitely going to make Aston Martin's partners like Honda and Adrian Newey change how they act. We must not forget that the British guy is also a technical partner of the team, which shows that his input in choosing drivers is going to be much bigger than we originally thought. But the main goal would be to get Max's attention and to show him the potential the same way that Newey was given the offer from Lawrence. This is why Juan Pablo Montoya, the former F1 driver, believes that there is an offer coming from another team that Max will find too hard to say no to, explaining more. About this, he said, "I think Max will get an offer he can't say no to from Aston Martin. He might give Red Bull a chance for a year and a chance for Adrian to start figuring things out. Adrian can't do that right away. It's a whole new group and everyone needs to start working together. Will they be better than where they are next year? For sure, but I don't think they're going to start winning a bunch of races." There's definitely a growing worry that Max could get stolen away from Red Bull, and whether we like it or not, it's just something that we can't ignore, especially when you have teams like Mercedes who haven't shown complete loyalty to their driver lineup yet. Wolff said that he wants to continue working with Russell and Antonelli. But we all know that a chance like Max is too hard to pass up twice, which is something that Martin Brundle has talked about. When discussing this, the Sky F1 expert has said, "I think if Max Verstappen became available in the market, I would be quite worried for George actually, because Kimi is obviously their chosen guy for the future. But there are a lot of ifs in there. George is doing a great job for them as team leader, but Toto missed Max once. I don't think he'll miss him a second time if he gets the chance." With all of this in mind, do you think that Max is going to leave Red Bull for Aston Martin? And if so, do you think he'll be replacing Alonso or Lance Stroll? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.